Going into the Polo Show, we're back after a couple weeks. I was traveling, California and back, so now we're getting back to doing shows. We're going to do a combo show tonight to preview the 49ers matchup on Sunday night against the Chargers. And we're also going to do a little bit of pregame for Warriors and Cavs tonight. So let's get into it.
Gonna throw it wide open, touchdown 49ers. Play and to Draymond. Hurry. Watch Stafford go deep and picked off. We're able to do week 3 in that matchup. Toss to Jones and big middle linebacker Fred Warner made the stop. Into the end zone, caught.
All right, hello again, everybody. Welcome into the Polo Show. I'm joined today by Niner Nate from Niner Nate's Nonsense as we talk about the Niners and the Warriors tonight. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's been an interesting couple days because I've basically gone media blackout because I've spent every day that I've come home and just turned on God of War Ragnarok until I've gone to sleep. So
Yeah.
this is the first time I've talked sports with someone in a couple days. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, I've been traveling, and then once I got back from traveling, MW2 came out, and me and Davo are running it like hella late at night. So it's the first time in a few weeks I've been doing a show back and forth to California. I was at the SoFi game. That was hilarious because I was talking shit nonstop to Rams fans. Literally the second I got there, just scanning tickets, we were talking shit in line. Like dudes weren't even moving in line; they're just talking shit. It was hilarious. But we're back, and we're going to talk about the Niners playing the Chargers, and then we'll get into some Warriors pregame probably in the second half of the show. So the first thing that I want to kind of dive into is for the game this Sunday. Obviously, we're coming off of a bye week, and we've had a lot of injuries this year. It kind of feels like the story every single year. But we're getting a lot of guys back, like Debo's back, Elijah Mitchell's back, which I'm really excited about to see if that takes our running game to the next level, because then McCaffrey doesn't have to take every single carry. The linebacker core looks like it's going to be back, but they did lose Jason Verrett. Just terrible news for Jason Verrett. He's torn both his Achilles. He's torn both his ACLs. I think he's 31, so at this point, his career is probably over. I don't think many teams are going to take a flyer on a guy in his 30s who has had this many injuries. And we were counting a lot on Verrett to be that kind of contingency, that reinforcement middle of the season. And after losing Emmanuel Mosley, you could have possibly tried to make a move to get another corner just in case, but looked like they were banking on Jason Verrett to just be healthy for the rest of the year and just come back midseason, be able to just produce at a starter level. But now that he's down, it kind of made me question, like, maybe the Niners didn't do as good a job as they thought they did trying to find a contingency plan. Like last year, they probably could have tried to do better than bring in someone like Josh Norman. They could have done something possibly better to try to prepare. But now it looks like Lenore is going to be starting probably the rest of the year. And what are your thoughts on all the guys coming back? What do you expect going into this week coming out of the bye? And are you confident in Lenore and the youngsters at corner to contribute the rest of the season?
I'm more confident in the fact that their pass rush is getting back. Bosa's back. Ebukam might be coming back soon. I mean, I still think Armstead really needs to be back. I think they're probably not getting Kinlaw back. So, I mean, there's things I'm less confident about when it comes to that team. But I'm confident in the fact that against the Rams, they showed something on offense I haven't seen yet this season. And that was the fact that Christian McCaffrey made Jimmy Garoppolo play better than he normally would. And I maybe not, the word is not elevate, but I think that you could say that Christian McCaffrey is so good at elevating Jimmy Garoppolo to a level that he hasn't really been since 2019. And so if there's anything that has me feeling good about this team, it's the fact that I think the offense can pick up the slack that the defense might have, be given here. And then I do like Diamador Lenore. I think he's actually really been, out of those guys who people kind of question. Like everyone wanted Ambry Thomas to be a stud, and he's just a guy. He's nothing special. But Lenore has kind of shown, little sparks, little, things here and there that showed me that he's really good. The problem is now is your nickel is probably going to be Womack, which he was really good at preseason. I don't know what happened. I
don't think they're going to move Jimmy Ward out of that spot.
You think they're just going to leave him at nickel?
I think they're going to leave him there. I think the way Kyle Shanahan the way he is with rookies in general, I think he just doesn't like playing them when they show how raw they are. And I think that he's like, listen, Gibson is not a great safety, but because of the rest of the defense, we can possibly get away with playing Jimmy Ward at nickel. And I don't think he's going to move him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, right? They could just stay there. And it's working. The thing is, it worked against the Rams. Here's my thing and it's going to work against the Chargers. The Chargers are just absolutely decimated with injuries. They have more injuries than the 49ers do. I think Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are both not playing.
They're not.
So I don't think it's really going to be a factor this week. And then we'll see what happens with Arizona because they do have Hopkins and Kyler Murray's always kind of giving fits and starts. The game I'm most interested to see how the wide receivers kind of stack up with the current state of the secondary will be either the Buccaneers game when Mike Evans is back and Tom Brady's hitting Mike Evans. Is anybody be able to stop Mike Evans? And then the Seahawks game with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They've always shown the ability to really take care of Lockett, actually. And it's always been kind of one of the more impressive things because I think Lockett's a more talented wide receiver than DK Metcalf because he's so big that sometimes he just kind of gets ahead of himself because he just thinks he's this athletic freak and can do anything. And Lockett is just smart with the ball, and Lockett's always been smart. So they've always realized how to stop Lockett. But it'll be kind of interesting to see, this week, I don't think it'll be a factor, but as we go forward, it may be a factor. And hopefully the offense, with Debo back, with Christian McCaffrey being now the focal point of this offense, hopefully that offense can kind of pick up that slack that the defense might leave. Because I don't think they're going to get Kinlaw back this year. I think Armstead will be back here soon. I thought he'd be back this week, but it just doesn't look like that's going to happen quite yet. And which is kind of a bummer because I think people who, hate on Armstead pretty often on here. And oh God. No, he's not. Not the real deal.
Gino's cooking.
No, I mean, here's the thing about Geno Smith is if Kenneth Walker wasn't such a stud at running back, Geno Smith would be fucking just as bad as he's always been. But because Kenneth Walker has been so good that they don't have to throw the ball as often, so it kind of takes the pressure off Geno Smith. I don't think Geno Smith is the real deal, and I don't think PJ Walker is the real deal either. That's the most wild shit I've ever heard. Both those guys are mid to best guys. I lost my fucking train of thought
because of fucking Seahawks talk. Well,
fucking BMAC, god damn it.
What's up, Tanya? Yeah, I think that with Lenore, so the defense when we started the season out, right? I looked at it and I initially thought maybe the safety is the weak spot, but then Hufanga was playing as good as he's been playing, and Gibson was playing pretty well also. And I just kind of thought to myself, shit, there's no weak point on this entire defense. And now that Mosley went down, and now that we know we're not going to have Jason Verrett, now I do kind of feel like if I'm another offense, and I'm definitely not going to challenge Mooney Ward, I know the edge rushers are going to get to the quarterback at some point as long as they're healthy. I know the linebackers are – Niners are the best linebacking core in the NFL, and they're all really fast too. And Hufanga's a beast at safety. I'm probably going to pick on Lenore because he's younger. He's really what? Because they had Mosley, they had Verrett, who was going to start over him. He's like their fourth string corner technically on the roster.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick on him and just try to exploit any weakness there. So that gives me a little bit of worry when we do play a team that has elite receivers because, BMAC said how the Seahawks haven't faced like a real defense besides the Niners. I don't really know how good teams the Niners have played either, though. Like in all honesty, if I'm just being fair, like we kind of wrote off the Bears as a win. And I know it was weird circumstances, but still, you scored 10 points. We probably all thought the Broncos were going to be better and thought that was a game we could lose. But when we got to the actual game and now we realize how bad Denver is, it's like, how the hell did we not win that game? Right? Like, there's always weird ways that this team just finds a way to lose a game that they should win. So when we get to a team like the Chiefs, and you and me were at that game, and it started out great. I thought, like, holy shit, like, we're going to beat this Chiefs team. And then the defense couldn't stop anything. And that's not going to happen every week.
Stop a nosebleed.
Obviously, yeah. Like, that's not going to happen every single week. But when you do have to play an elite quarterback, those kinds of things are going to be picked on. And that just makes me a little worried. But I do still think this defense is easily top 3 when they're healthy. Like you were saying, not Mosley, Armstead, he needs to come back because that middle of the defensive line, you got to make sure they're able to stop the run up the middle. You got to make sure that, you have some pass rush from the interior also. Because what I was noticing in the Chiefs game, a lot of times what was really killing them was they would run the ball in first down and get like 6 yards. And it was just putting the defense in a worse situation. Now that the Chiefs can kind of do whatever they want, they're not really being forced into many third and longs.
Yeah.
And they were converting like every third down they had that entire game too. So I want to see that cleaned up, but obviously that's going to be whether Armstead's going to be able to play or not, which is why a lot of people, including me, want to see them go after someone like Ndamukong Suh just to have that veteran depth in the middle. But it is what it is. But I still think the defense is going to be elite moving forward. It's just going to be interesting. But it is good for Lenore's development to get this time. I mean, Ambry Thomas, he wasn't great last year when he played, but he was able to step in at a time where we needed someone to step in instead of really anyone but fucking Josh Norman needed to step in. And when he came in, he made some plays when they needed him to, and they were pretty damn close to getting the Super Bowl last year. So I think it'll be good for his development. But the next thing I want to move to is the offense because we have all these weapons. Now we're going to see McCaffrey and Debo really really the first time because obviously when Debo was here for the Chiefs game, when he was healthy, McCaffrey had just gotten there. He was limited in his touches and his usage. So now that we've got McCaffrey at full expense of the playbook and we saw what he did against LA, and we're going to get to see that combined with Debo Samuel on the field together, to me, there's no excuses. The offense has been the problem the whole year. It has not been the defense. You have who's supposed to be a mastermind head coach, and I'm a huge believer in Kyle, but at the end of the day, like if there's execution problems, some of that has to fall on you as the head coach. You're struggling to put up like 20 points against most teams. I mean, I've seen us put up points against a shit team in the Panthers. I've seen us put up points against the Rams really only once. The first time we've only put up 17 points, but we always kind of get the Rams number. So I need to see them do it consistently and do it against other teams that I believe are actually good. And now there's no excuses with all these weapons that you have. So what are your expectations for the offense this Sunday against the Chargers, who cannot stop the run to save their fucking life, but also the rest of the season moving forward?
I mean, I think this is a Sunday night game that should have been flexed. There's no reason the Niners should be playing the Chargers. I understand the reason Chargers are like 5-3, but they're so injured they can't do anything. They've played, really nobody. They're not very good. But I mean, last time we played a team like that, we found a way to lose because Jimmy Garoppolo's a dumbass. But
kind of, yeah.
We'll see what happens. I think that they should easily win. I think they're favored by 7. They're at home.
7 points.
This is one of those games that you come out on Sunday Night Football and you just show how good you are, and you kind of just make those people making the power rankings and all that shit kind of just think about who's the team that's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, and are the Eagles that good? Are the Vikings that good? I think that this is one of those games if they do it right. The rest of the season, I really think that while we kind of know Jimmy Garoppolo sucks ass, and that's just who he is, that when you give even bad quarterbacks like a ton of weapons like they have, and they have a ton of weapons, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, this team is just stacked with weapons at this point, right? I mean, PJ Walker could probably be doing, winning games with this, Baker Mayfield could be winning games with this offense. So, I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo can't do it, then then we might as well kiss any hopes of getting, past the first round of the playoffs goodbye at this point. Kyle Shanahan has literally loaded this dude up with some of the most talented weapons in the entire world. At this point, something has to give, and they have to be able to score points. And so, the next 2 games being pretty bad football teams, and the Chargers and the Cardinals back to back helps, because the Cardinals are pretty terrible. And then the Saints are terrible. And then the Dolphins game. The Dolphins game will be interesting because they have a good quarterback. Tua's a lot better than Jimmy. And so is your defense going to be able to stop Tua, or is it going to be a shootout? And then do they win shootout when there's a much better quarterback on this side of the field? And so the next 3 games are pretty interesting. Like, it should be, bing, bang, boom, you win 3 in a row. And then that Dolphins game, maybe things kind of get a little, who knows what's going on here. But this should be, the easiest stretch of just 3 wins, easy, no stress wins. But, Jimmy, like, it probably won't happen. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. This offense is so fucking talented, dude. It's crazy to think that the 49ers have this many good players on offense. And the defense, while it's injured and it's, not as good as it used to be, they still have a tremendous, they still have Nick Bosa, who is more than most teams have. And they still have Fred Warner, who, man, shame on anybody who talks shit on Fred Warner. Seriously, shame on you.
We got J. Cole,
if you said anything bad about Fred Warner. The guy is fucking unbelievable. He's been unbelievable his entire career here, and he makes up for a lot of deficiencies in the passing game when your corners are injured, and I think that'll help them going forward. And then Travis Ward, the guy is just, what a free agent signing.
He's a dog.
What a free agent signing. He's awesome. He gets burned every once in a while. He's not locked down, all the time, but I think that he's better more than he's worse, and I think that's huge. B-Mac, come on, dude. Jimmy Garoppolo has not played good all season. What the fuck are you talking about, B-Mac? Jimmy Garoppolo is ass. Like, I understand you can be like, oh, well, he wasn't bad in this game. Well, what the fuck did he do? What has he done? Like, why do we have this guy who does the bare minimum? We're like, he's not that bad. He does the bare minimum every game. Like, we're literally sitting here with our sitting on our hands being like, well, I hope he doesn't fuck this up. Like, could you imagine, like, any other quarterback with this set of weapons? Like, I just don't get it, man. Like, why do we make excuses for this guy week after week? Like, we have to put up with him because he's here. We don't have to praise him because he's not good.
My thing with Jimmy is the numbers lie so much. Like, if you look at plays where he'll throw a ball directly at a defensive player and they drop it, and to me, it's like, how much of it is Jimmy's not making the same mistakes, and how much of it is defense just not capitalizing on those mistakes? I would argue that a lot of times defenses just aren't capitalizing on the mistakes that he makes.
How many drop picks are there a game?
There's
like,
how many times
we're like, oh shit, he dropped that? Oh my god.
Like, I remember people were talking about his touchdown interception ratio after like week 4, week 5 or some shit. It's like, okay, cool. But there's an interception that he literally threw in Denver that didn't count because he put his foot down on racism. Props to you. Jimmy was in the back of your end zone. But also the first third down of that game, I think it was the first third down of that game, he threw the ball and DJ Jones was playing double agent for us because he batted the ball down. It's going directly to a safety for a pick 6. So what an incredible double agent DJ Jones is.
I mean, he's blamed solely for the Denver game. Like, I've gone on record on everywhere saying that this man fucking sucks and cost us a whole game. Like, how many quarterbacks just cost you a game all by themselves? Like, to the point where, like, you can't even blame the defense for that game. You blame it solely on Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's just like, oh, well, he didn't throw that many interceptions, or he threw balls and they dropped it. Well, like, how many of those passes were catchable passes that he threw poorly because he stinks?
And listen, we do talk about dropped interceptions because a lot of this fan base is still trying to cook Jaquiski Tart for the NFC Championship game. So we can't cherry pick when a dropped interception matters or doesn't matter. It matters. Also, Tashawn Gibson dropped like 2 interceptions.
Yo, did we forget that the last football game Jimmy Garoppolo played in, he was absolute fucking dog water for the whole first half? And then Kyle said, oh, wait, I have Christian McCaffrey. I don't have my quarterback to do anything. And then he finally started playing like a football player again. Like, it's so weird how everyone gets Lombardi syndrome with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, oh my God, this one pass was good, and then the rest was dog shit. But this one pass, man, like, what the fuck?
So in the Rams game, I think Jalen Ramsey actually dropped 2 interceptions. One of them was thrown directly at him, and that was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, dude, I don't know what you're looking at.
Jalen Ramsey stinks too. He used to be good.
Funny.
He's not good anymore.
But it's funny because you look at that, and then you look at the box score, and it's like he went 21 for 25, and it looks fucking amazing. But it's just weird. It's weird. But I don't know. When we're talking about Jimmy
quarterback week in, week out,
it can be tough. But my expectations for the offense is, listen, we shouldn't be struggling to score 20.
And Christian McCaffrey hit 2 or 3 long passes. Christian McCaffrey hit a longer pass than Jimmy Garoppolo's hit all season in the Rams game.
But did you know this? So that was McCaffrey's first start, right? Christian McCaffrey and Jimmy both had a completion outside the numbers for 30-plus air yards in that game. That was both their first completion on the 49ers with 30-plus air yards outside the numbers, and one of them's a running back starting his first game. I think that's hilarious. But anyways, yeah, my expectation for the offense, because of McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, who I want to see involved more too, I should not see this Sunday against a bad defense where we're shooting ourselves in the foot and we're looking at a game where we score 17 points. That should not happen. Like, we should run for like at least 130 yards on these guys. Jimmy should be able to have a comfortable game because we should be able to establish the run. So I'm assuming the play action is going to be able to be a lot more of a threat than it really has been all year. We haven't really used play action that much this year, and I want to see that more. And I think McCaffrey's going to help with that. So there's no excuses for me.
Honestly, make him the quarterback too. Fuck it.
This offense should be a top 5 offense. It should not be near the bottom or middle tier. And this is
one of those games where they come out and they just stomp on someone where there's no doubt that they're better. Like, that's what the next 3 games. If Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be able to take this team any further than the first round of the playoffs, they should absolutely stomp these 3 teams, and he shouldn't be looking like a bozo like he does most games in the first half, because he looks like a bozo in the first half of almost every single game this season. And it's the second half adjustments where Kyle's like, oh, shit, I have to do everything for this bozo because he can't do anything himself. He can't even fucking call his own protections. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I understand I cannot call my own protections, but I am a person who works at a laboratory in Livermore. I should not have to do that. This motherfucker is paid millions of dollars and he can't call his own fucking protections. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, this is why I haven't had shows of my own, because at this point, like, I don't know what to talk about because fucking the quarterback is so bad, but the team around him so good. It's like, well, maybe they'll win, maybe they'll underperform, or maybe they'll be just average like the quarterback.
You just out yourself as part of the feds, Nate?
Yeah.
You one of the feds? Hey,
I do work for the federal government. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, B-Mac, so my thing is, I don't give a shit on what our yards are, what our efficiencies. I want fucking points, dude. I don't want to get down in the red zone and we're settling for field goals. I don't want to get like the Chiefs game. Remember toward the end of half, Nate, when I think it was 3rd and 3, but I think we were within the 10-yard line.
And he throws the interception.
A 7-yard Hail Mary. I've never seen it in my life until that point. Like, I don't want to see stuff
his hands.
I don't want to see stuff like that.
The defender's hands. Like, I get it. Like, we just beat the Rams and that's fun. But like, did anyone watch that Chiefs game? Like, he was the most dog water I've seen a quarterback be. And the greatest quarterback in the NFL on the other side was just like, nah, this ain't no big deal. He could have been our quarterback and his own quarterback, like for his own team, and it would have been closer than fucking Jimmy Garoppolo, because he could play quarterback on both sides and he wouldn't get tired because he's so good and his arm is so talented. It's like fucking.
He's a great second best quarterback in the league. But anyways,
he's not. No, okay. No.
We're gonna move on.
He's better than Josh Allen. There's no fucking question in my mind that Patrick Mahomes is better than Josh Allen. Like, I don't know what world people live in where they think that Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen is absolutely number 2. No question.
Josh Allen can make all those throws.
What has Josh Allen done this year? Patrick Mahomes is so much better than Josh Allen.
Did you say what has Josh Allen done this year? Or did I hear you wrong?
He's thrown more interceptions than Patrick Mahomes.
It's not just interceptions, though.
He lost first of all, Dolphins and the Jets.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes lost to the Colts. And he almost lost to Malik Willis the other night.
Okay.
So
that's because his defense is dog water. That's why you
I
almost
don't
lost
know.
to the Tennessee Titans.
I don't know. I think Josh Allen can make all those throws, and he's a better running threat. So
I
I'm
think
taking
Patrick
Josh
Mahomes is
Allen.
better. Whatever. Change the subject. Sorry.
Man. All right. Anyways, to avoid a bye week hangover, because this does get to me a little bit. I get a little nervous when teams come out of the bye week and you're playing a game and it feels like you're favored and you should win.
What is Kyle's record after a bye week, by the way?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I don't even know how to figure that out. Yeah, I'm gonna ask Jesse. That old man knows everything.
Yeah, that old man fucking it's all he does is not hang out with his kids.
But
just kidding,
no,
Jesse, I love you.
It does make me a little nervous though. Just because also Justin Herbert is fucking good. So even though he's missing wide receivers, if you
Who's
come
he
out
throwing to though? He's throwing to you, Chris.
I don't care. Hey, if he throws to me, I got that dog in me, so I could easily cook Lenore. Easily. No, I'm a fucking liar. Anyways, what do they need to do to make sure they avoid a bye week hangover? Like, what are the most important things they have to make sure they execute at?
I mean, you don't let him stay in the game, man. Oh my god, dude, BMAC is becoming Lombardi. I can't with him. BMAC, just find a way to take Lombardi's photo and copy it, and then just put your face in it, and then like you can just do the fucking random stat game that man does on Twitter. Like Twitter's gonna burn, and one of these days people are actually gonna miss some of these accounts. I'm not gonna miss fucking Lombardi at all. Sorry, the question. I mean, it's about coming out, executing, and getting a lead, right? Like Kyle Shanahan, when he has a lead, tends to win games because he doesn't have to do as much. He can just run the ball. They have to get a lead early, and they have to put Justin Herbert in the ground. I really think that's all it is, in the ground, in the dirt. Jesus, we're not trying to kill him. Trying
to put him 6 feet under. Shit,
yeah. Fuck them. But yeah, I mean, just get a lead, and take care of the other quarterback, because he's not throwing to anybody that good. So I mean, you won't have to be covering people. I don't think you're covering anybody that's good. DeAndre Carter is I think their best receiver right now, and he's 29. And I never even heard of him before this season, and he's 29. So
it might be Austin Eckler.
I mean, Austin Eckler, it's find a way to stop Austin Eckler. The problem is they can't stop the run without Armstead, so that kind of scares me. But get a lead. That's the most important thing. Get a lead, run the ball, run the clock, get out of there with a win, and get ready to fly to Mexico City.
You saying get a really comfortable 10-point lead?
I think, oh, God. I walked into that one. I don't think 10 points is where I would go. I would be get a 14-point lead, 17-point lead. You could Kyle Shanahan generally holds on to those. It's when he gets a 10-point or a 7 that he doesn't hang on to it, because you can't just run the ball when you're up only 10 points. Teams are eventually going to do something.
You know what's really screwed up? When we were at the Chiefs game and we got up, I think it was 10-0, I tweeted 10-point lead on the Chiefs. What could possibly go wrong? And the second after I tweeted that, we got outscored 44-13. That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's your fault. You said I jinxed the team. You jinxed the team.
You jinxed the team going into the week, so it was already too late. It didn't matter what I did.
You jinxed him.
Anyways,
honestly, I don't give a fuck. That chicken sandwich was so good, it didn't even matter that we got our ass beat.
Yeah, that pizza was not that bad. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, I think what I really get nervous about is just dumb shit, like Mike McGlinchey being a traffic cone on offense, or seeing Jake Brendel get run over and get called for a holding call in the same play. I don't want to see penalties. I don't want to see sloppiness. I don't want to see stuff like drop passes. A lot of the reasons that the Niners lose games and it makes us really frustrated is because they play teams that we feel like they should be beating, like the Bears, or they play games against the Broncos, or even the Falcons. And I know they're really depleted on defense, but I think the defense did a pretty decent job. It was the offense just wasn't putting up points. And Jimmy actually wasn't playing a bad game, but they just weren't putting up points. I don't want to see shit like that, where we sit there in a Twitter space after the game, pissed off because we're 4-5 and we should have won this game. We seem to do that every time we've lost a game this year, because we haven't played that many good teams, if we've even played any good teams other than the Chiefs. So I don't want to see self-inflicted wounds. That's the stuff I want to see. Just, you need to build the good habits Because when you get closer to the playoffs, if you have those bad habits and you play a really disciplined team, like here's where I will give the Seahawks a lot of credit, regardless of what people think. They're a very well coached football team. They're very disciplined. They're always ready. They're always focused and engaged. And then sometimes the Niners, they have like, I don't know, 12 penalties and give up like 90 yards or something like that. And it just costs them almost 100 yards of offense on a team where offense has been the issue. I don't want to see stuff like that. So I just want to make sure all the technical stuff, like the little things, not having illegal formations, not having miscommunications on defense, that stuff's got to be cleaned up and come out the gate strong. Don't come out sluggish because you came, off the bye week and this team's more in rhythm than you. Come out the gates hot, put your foot on them, and don't stop. Like, just keep going. And B-Mac was saying Drake Jackson's going to need to get majority reps. I think Drake Jackson is going to get some reps because of the Ebukam injury. So I want to see how Drake Jackson does.
I think he's pretty good too.
He's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. And I hate saying it because he's from USC.
I know.
But he's
I think he's actually been pretty impressive. He's not, for like a second round rookie, he's been pretty good. I think that's a good draft pick, to be honest with you. And I think that'll allow them to get rid of the Ebukam contract sooner, hopefully.
Hey, B-Mac, if we get a 20-point lead and it's late in the game, Kyle Shanahan will pick up the phone, call the practice squad, and get Tevin Coleman on the sideline before he puts Jordan Mason in the game and take carries. Totally. He hates Jordan Mason. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
I don't think he hates him.
Yo,
I don't think he hates him. Why is he on the team? Why did
he got a carry for 7 yards, and after that he's like, all right, now go fuck yourself. Sit on the bench the rest of the year. You're playing special teams. He hates him. I don't know what it is, but
I don't even think that's what it is.
Anyway, no, I'm just joking. He just hates rookies. I don't know what it is.
He hates them. Hates rookies.
I'm really surprised, by the way.
He might be the best coach in the entire, one of the best head coaches in the league, and he like draft a rookie could be like the best rookie ever. And he's like, I'm not fucking playing him this year,
dude. If he had Mahomes, I don't even think he would have played him. He would have started Brian Hoyer.
Well, they didn't start Mahomes anyway
over Alex Smith. I think he would have started Brian Hoyer, like dead ass. Like he really is like that with.
I mean, that you always start the quarterback for like the first 3 or 4 games,
first 3-4 weeks, and then
you bring in the backup. That's why I'll never understand last year when Jimmy Garoppolo just stunk ass, and Kyle's like, not gonna bring him in, and we're all just like, what the fuck, bring him in? There's no way he's worse than this shit. And then they're like, okay, well, and then the argument people make is like, oh, they got to the NFC Championship game, and I was like, yeah, but like, could they have done that with Trey Lance too? Like. But he was ass for like 4 games straight, and Kyle didn't make the switch. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Anyways, continue.
He may be the quarterback next year.
Who?
10.
No. I mean, maybe. If they win the Super Bowl, maybe. Yeah. There's a chance. They win the Super Bowl.
I don't know, man.
Honestly,
they make weird decisions.
If you really want to piss off Kevin, or Sersky, tell them that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the quarterback next year when they win the Super Bowl, and just fucking watch them.
Yeah, Sersky's going to scream at me if I do that. But
I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Let's transition. I think the Warriors. I think the Niners are going to win this Sunday. I don't think it's going to be a stomping on them like a lot of people think we might. I think they are going to be a little sluggish, and also
injured though.
I just haven't seen the Niners consistently play well against teams they should beat, other than like the Panthers and the Rams. But the Rams, they kind of struggled that first half of the last game. So I think it'll be something like, I think we'll score 27 points. I think we'll have a good game offensively with McCaffrey and Debo, but I think they will allow like 17. Like, I don't think it's going to be something crazy. That's how I feel about this Sunday. But to kind of transition, we're going to talk about the Warriors now pregame. It's kind of a shit show, but it's a weird shit show. It's something I can't really put my finger on. It's like you have the best starting lineup in the NBA, like metrically. And your bench is so fucking bad that it doesn't even matter, and you're 4-7. It's really weird. There's a lot of different things to kind of unpack with that. The bench, obviously, the young guys just look kind of unplayable, certain guys. I'm not that surprised with the guys like Kuminga, though. I did kind of say, I think we had a show before.
You did call that.
I kind of felt like Kuminga was going to look the same, but also when you look the same, you don't get better. In a way, you get worse. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing.
Nobody saw James Wiseman coming, though.
I didn't see that. So I thought James Wiseman, because if you look at his rookie year, I mean, he looked decent. I mean, people still bring up plus minus. Plus minus can take away a lot of context. First of all, that team was shit anyways. If you look at the team in 20, 2021. Like, it didn't really matter. But looking at his rookie year, I just felt like, okay, this dude, when he gets integrated with the rest of the team, this is what the Warriors were missing last year. It was a 7-footer who was athletic, who was able to, catch lobs, run the length of the floor. And it's just like the dude still just doesn't, it's like effort things with him. It's not really like physical ability. It feels more like you're not boxing out. You're not fighting on the glass. His screens are terrible. Like, when he sets screens, he's not even screening guys. And I think a lot of it is he just hasn't played a lot of basketball the last few years. He didn't really play much in Memphis. I forgot what happened over in Memphis, but it was weird. He only played like a couple games or some shit. And then he was injured, and he didn't have camp going into his rookie year. He played a little bit in his rookie year and looked good. And then he had his second season, which was taken away because that whole meniscus recovery just went kind of sideways. And this was the first year he had camp, and first year he really had preseason. And now it just looks like this dude clearly hasn't played basketball for a while. And now he's being asked from going to not playing basketball for a while as a young kid into the NBA and on a team that's ready to win now. And I know that's where people start to kind of draw the Trey Lance comparisons. It's kind of similar in a way. I get it. With James Wiseman, though, there's some mental things with him that are kind of weird to me. Like when Steph Curry's run pick and roll with him and he sets a bad screen and then rolls his eyes and shakes his head when Steph Curry doesn't give him the ball. Like, I think he's just got to do a better job at understanding his role. So there's a lot of weird things going on.
Here's
with the Warriors
the thing
right
about
now.
this all is this too, Chris, and I think this is the main point I wanted to make on this show today is like the NBA in the grand scheme of things, as long as you don't get like dog walked every night, it doesn't really matter until January.
Yeah.
So like, if Steve Kerr really wants to just keep playing these, guys on the bench and trying to figure out what works until January, that's perfectly fine. And I think that they're going to be perfectly fine. I think people are freaking out right now because like, oh my God, everyone looks bad. Well, yeah, that's just how it is when you're playing a bunch of young kids on a bench when you have like the best lineup in the entire NBA. Like, here's the point I really wanted to make with you because it's you, and I think you'll find this funny. The Phoenix Suns win the first half of the season every year, bro.
They love the regular season.
They get to January. They're the best team in the world. Nothing could stop them. They're fucking unbelievable, right? But the thing is winning up to January doesn't matter at all. It just doesn't matter. And so what happens when a team that wins a bunch of games up to January gets to the playoffs? They fucking let blown out by 40 points by Luka Doncic and his fucking and the Three Stooges. Like, that team had nobody besides Luka Doncic, and they couldn't do anything against them. So, I mean, before people start freaking out about the fact that the Warriors can't do anything right now, just remember, like, the Phoenix Suns were the number 1 seed, and now it's the Utah Jazz with like nobody.
It's so weird.
This season, up until January, it does not matter. None of this shit matters. None of it matters. Nothing matters till January. It's like baseball. Baseball doesn't matter till July.
Utah doesn't even want to be good, and it's weird.
They want to tank, and they're good.
They're screwing themselves up.
The NBA right now, like, nobody gives a shit. Like, the Warriors right now, like, Steph Curry's playing unbelievable because he's one of the best. He might be the best player in the NBA right now. And so,
Giannis.
Giannis is playing really well too. Right now, like, I'm not gonna freak out and be like, "Oh my God, everything's a mess." Like, did you hear 95.7 the game the other day? Oh my God, this is so bad. Like,
no, they're always like that.
Oh my God, what's going on with the Warriors? They're awful. And I'm like, who fucking cares? It's not January. Don't freak out. And I get it. It's because radio, they need something to talk about. Like, they have to find something to talk about so people listen. But like, the existentialism from Warrior fans is fucking insane because you got the Suns who are winning all these games and they're not even going to make it to the finals again. Like, they're going to get a nice little that fan base is going to make their fucking players trophies that are like first half of the NBA champions. Like, who gives a shit until January?
And they play again. So they play again next Wednesday in Phoenix. So I'm going to be there. And when I go, it's really funny because it's like, the energy in that building, it's their NBA finals just playing us in October.
Oh yeah, they play the Warriors.
It's really funny. But
anytime they play us, it's hilarious. It's comedy that people actually give a shit right now about any of these games.
I think in the beginning it does matter if your team is not a well-oiled machine. The reason I give the Warriors benefit of the doubt right now is not because I'm a Warriors fan. It's because as a team that just won, exactly. And also as a team that just won the NBA championship, that has the same starting core from the team that won the championship, they deserve the benefit of the doubt, especially considering that when the team has been healthy, aside from that 2-year lull where Klay Thompson was gone, they've been contending and getting to the finals.
Kings are dog shit. Fuck off with that shit. The Kings are awful. Like, the Warriors were playing dog shit basketball, and they still beat the Kings last week.
The Warriors are playing bad. Like, that's the thing that people don't realize is, like, the Warriors are – if you think – like, this is what I was actually going to bring up. So, the Celtics last year, right? So, the Celtics last year, they were in the finals. They were one of the best teams metrically, defensively to make the finals, right? And right now, the main problem with the Warriors is their bench and their defense. So, for people who really think that the beginning of the season carries a shit ton of weight, okay, and don't bring up the Cavs to me. Like, this is the thing. When I think of teams, like, listen, the Warriors play the Cavs tonight, but when I think of teams,
what's the Kings
in the big picture,
the Lakers tonight?
when I think of teams in the big picture, I think of how is that team built in the playoffs. That's how I think of them. I don't really think of them on a Friday night in November. But if you look at last season, the Celtics were allowing 119 points per game through their first 7 games of the season. So they started out the year, defense was their problem. They were dog shit defensively. They didn't even have a consistent 500 record or above until 50 games into the season. So 35 games into the year, the Celtics last year were 16-19. That was their record. I bet everyone, if you asked them if they were going to make the finals, we're probably like, fuck no, you're on crack. That's crazy. They were 25-25, 50 games into the season. And that was in like late January, 50 games into the season. After that, that's when they went on their run. The Warriors, who just won a title, who have a veteran core, just because they're not winning some games in November or late October, it does not dictate how the rest of the season is going to go. The Cavs are 8-2 right now. They could be a 500 team at the end of the season. The Jazz, they're first place in the West right now. They could be a 6 seed by the end of the season, and they don't even want to be a 6 seed, in all honesty. I wouldn't be surprised if they capitalize off this and try to trade away some of these other guys like Jordan Clarkson. So it's really tough to just look at that and say, okay, this team's a contender, this team's not. I usually say give a team about 20 to 25 games into the season before you really start to judge who they are. The Warriors, it might take that. It might take a little longer because Steve Kerr is, like you were saying, trying to experiment to see what combinations are going to work when we get to March, what combinations are going to work when we get to April. Last year, he had to do that a lot, and people were getting mad and frustrated, and I get why fans will get frustrated because you want to win every game. But Steve Kerr understands that his team should be in the playoffs regardless, and they don't give a shit if they're a 6 seed or a 1 seed. They believe that with Steph Curry, Draymond, and Klay and the rest of that core, that they can beat a team 4 times in the span of 7 games, regardless if they're on the road or if they're a 6 seed. It doesn't really matter. Okay. And when you're moving forward this season, it's different than last year because you've got guys that not only need to get integrated into this team, you guys need to get integrated to being NBA players. Like Moses Moody, who I'm surprised by, started a little slower because he had more experience in college than both Wiseman and Kuminga. So I thought he might come along a little more smoothly, and that hasn't really happened. To me, JaMychal Green is ass. That's something that I need to see changed. I just don't see, like, I knew we were going to lose Gary Payton. I knew that was going to hurt. I didn't realize how much losing Otto Porter was going to hurt. Honestly, if I'm Bob Myers, I might call Toronto midseason and be like, hey, how bad do you really want to keep Otto Porter? I would try to get him back. I missed that 3-point threat. He was also really good at defensive rebounding, and he spaced the floor pretty well, and it helped them with small ball. So I think they really missed that. JaMychal Green, to me, just looks lost. I don't trust his perimeter shot the way I did Otto Porter's. I don't know. I don't really know how it – like, to me, he's a hustle player, but if you're lost, your hustle doesn't really matter to me if you're just in the wrong spots all the time. And I'm not saying he's doing that all the time, but I don't really know how great of a fit that is to the point where I'm going to sit Kuminga, because we were kind of doing that for a good portion at the beginning of the season. We weren't even playing Kuminga. We were playing JaMychal Green, and we saw that switch happen in the last game against the Kings where Steve Kerr decided to start throwing Kuminga out there. And I agree with that because even if Kuminga's a little slower catching on, he needs the reps anyways. He needs to develop anyways. And also, he's played with a lot of these guys already. I saw him produce last year and defend with these guys last year. So you'll probably have more continuity in playing him anyways. So there are definitely some changes in the rotation we're seeing. And that I think is a response from Steve Kerr saying, listen, I want to experiment, but we're losing too much. He's not saying like, okay, this is the end of the world, but right now I think that the message is we're losing too much too early and we got to clean this shit up. And he's trying to make drastic changes. So I don't know what kind of changes you want to see to the team or the rotation, or if you want to see them go get somebody, but that's just kind of how I feel. I think Wiseman definitely could use some time in the G League just to play games. I think that Kuminga needs to play more. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I mean, I think that these guys need to. I think that they need to keep just letting this bench play. I mean,
yeah,
I've told you, I don't think these games matter till January, and if that because of that, they keep playing these guys on the bench and just getting them NBA reps. It's kind of like the Trey Lance thing, right? Like,
yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
give a fuck as long as they play, even if they play poorly, just play them. Find out who the fuck they are, because I don't know who any of these guys are. And I didn't find out anything last year because while they were there and they, played minutes, they had veterans around them or guys who at least have, played in this league for longer than they have. So at this point, like, I just need to see something. I just need to see some sort of play. Just need to see them play the sport. And like, I understand people are like, oh, Wiseman is a bust. And it's like, is he though? Like, I get it. Like, he's been here for a while and he hasn't done anything, but like, how long was Steph Curry here before we really started to notice that he was the god of shooting?
And the thing with Wiseman too, he's played like something like maybe 50 career games. That's like the equivalent of your about halfway through your rookie season.
And
you
it's
can't
kind
call
of like
someone
the
a
Kinlaw
bust
thing, right? Like, people call Kinlaw a bust because he's been injured a lot. But I think when Kinlaw plays, he plays really well. That's the difference is like Wiseman's playing not well because he has no reps. And so my thing at this point is we just need to let these guys play. They need to play. And I think that playing them until January is perfectly fine with me. If they have a bad record, if they only beat the Lakers and the Kings and up until that point, that is what it is. They're going to win games just because Steph Curry is a god. I don't think they're going to like have this awful record and be like the fucking 10th seed come January. They'll figure it out. And Steve Kerr's smart enough. And it's funny because the radio people and the people who tend to talk a lot are the ones who talk shit on Steve Kerr. Do you remember last year? And I like to compare this with Kyle Shanahan, although I really feel like Steve Kerr's won something. So like, this is even fucking stupider than the people who say fire Kyle Shanahan. But like, do you remember the people who actually said fire Steve Kerr? Like, do you remember that shit? Remember. Like, it was like, I think it was December, January, like March, January to March, somewhere around the time that people were actually like, fire Steve Kerr. He has no idea what he's doing. And he's literally just playing all these random ass, benches, right? Like who the fuck are these guys? Why are these? And it ended up working out. And so for them to lose games right now and just keep fucking with the bench and bringing Wiseman in, bring Wiseman out, coming in, and just seeing what they have and letting them get some reps in the league, I'm cool with it. I think by March, this team will know who they are. Kerr will be able to move people in and move people out who are, actually experienced in playing basketball, and they'll be fine. But right now, up until January, this is just what they are, dude. And if people want to whine, be like, oh, Steve Kerr has no idea what he's doing. It's like, yeah. You're right. You're totally right, guy on Twitter. You know more than the guy who's won 4 championships as a coach and a couple as a fucking player. You definitely. Oh yeah. Joe Shasky of 95% of the game. You definitely fucking know what you're talking about, right? You have played sports in your life. You have definitely played sports. You look like a guy who's played sports. You talk like a guy who's played sports, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing? The people who continue to say, like, oh, fire Kyle Shanahan, fire Steve Kerr, like, yeah, you definitely tell him. You know what you're talking about, right? You want to coach. Oh yeah, Jim Harbaugh should come back as head coach. Oh, they should go get fucking, like, what the fuck are we doing, dude? Like this culture of people who are just like, oh yeah, fire the guy, fire this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. These benches, they have no idea what they're doing. Okay. Yeah, if you think you could do better, go for it. Or the people who are like, we should have never drafted James Wiseman. All right, yeah, you definitely know that better because if we didn't draft James Wiseman, we would have drafted some star. It was like, okay. So you're going to question the guy who drafted Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and somehow got Kevin Durant to come to the Warriors and then won a championship after Kevin Durant won because he drafted Jordan Poole. What the fuck are you talking about?
Some people say we should have drafted LaMelo Ball. I don't really know how LaMelo Ball would have fit onto this team, like where he'd even play. I don't know. But I understand why they picked Wiseman because they never really listen, they don't ask a center to do that much, but Wiseman can do so much more. And for the future, when Steph is retired, when Clay's done, when Draymond's done, that's why they picked James Wiseman. But
just play him.
he
Let him
needs more
play.
time. Now,
He
the thing
needs
is,
to play. And
I
then when we get
do.
to January, if it's still a problem, then you send him to the G League. But let him play in the NBA games.
You know what? I think right now, because of what I saw in the Kings game, I actually wouldn't mind it if they let him sit for a little bit, only because of the stuff I've seen with his body language. That Orlando game to me,
that's true,
was a really bad sign. Like for instance, when he didn't get a rebound, I think, and he got out rebounded. Someone on Orlando got a basket. He fouled him, and it was an and one. He just threw the ball against Stanch and got a technical. Like the dude is really frustrated. I think maybe a lot of it is he hasn't played a lot of basketball the last few years. He's just been wanting to get out there and establish himself as an NBA player, and he's struggling. And now he's on a team that's ready to win now, and he knows that he's struggling. And I think it's just kind of getting to his head a little bit. I think it would benefit him right now to go down to the G League and get some games in and just get his confidence and get the flow of playing basketball games again, and then just call him up and give him some minutes. But I think right now Steve Kerr is really frustrated with that too, because that stuff really matters to this team. That's why they've had such a great culture. And I know Draymond's a personality, but the thing is when Draymond, whenever he does cross the line, he always comes back. That's the thing with Draymond. With James Wiseman, he's a rookie. And when you're rolling your eyes at Steph Curry for not giving you the ball after he set a terrible screen, I don't think you're really focused on what your role is, or maybe you don't really have a full understanding of what your role is. So I think James Wiseman's just going to take a lot of time with needing to learn that. Some people threw out the idea maybe you start him so that he can play with the starters and maybe he'll be integrated a lot quicker. I don't think I want to do that, though, because Kevon Looney's chemistry with Steph Curry is really, really good. Every time he gets an offensive rebound, he just knows immediately to look and relocate and find where Steph Curry's at. And he usually knows where he's going to be, dump the ball off to him, set him a screen, get him an open three off an offensive board. So there's stuff like that James Wiseman's just not going to have down right now. And also the screen setting is not there. And he just doesn't really know where to be on the floor. So I think he's just going to take a lot of time. Jordan Poole needs to play better, though. He's kind of struggled, and I think people are starting to realize that after the Kings game. I can't have you going out there and taking less shots than Anthony Lamb, dude. Like, you just got paid $140 million, 126 or 123, whatever it is, guaranteed. But that's for you to be a scorer, not to be out there to just be a guy on the floor. And maybe he needs Dante DiVincenzo, who Anthony Slater, I think like 30 minutes ago, said that he's officially back tonight. He had a hamstring injury. He's on 20 minutes minute restriction. So maybe he's more important to the bench.
Is Michael Green doing anything? Like
I said, I don't think he's going to work out. I think he's all hustle to me right now. And when you're all hustle and you don't know where to be on the floor, I don't think you're very valuable. I don't think your hustle matters. That's why I'm saying midseason, I think they might need to call Toronto and see if they really want to keep Otto Porter, because if Otto Porter, you're not going to get Gary Payton back. That's not going to happen. That would be stupid for Portland to give up a player like that with the deal they just signed him to. But I think Otto Porter's on like a veteran minimum deal. So if they're willing to let him go and the Warriors are willing to give up like a pick or something like that, I would do it, because you're still in the win now mode. And he played really well off the bench last year. I think they could really use Otto Porter right now. I think it would solve a lot of different rotational issues for them.
He's Wilt the Stilt.
Yeah, you need Wilt Chamberlain back for real.
You Wilt Chamberlain back. Wilt Chamberlain on the roster, absolutely.
But I think maybe DiVincenzo plays a bigger part in this bench than I initially thought coming into the year, because he's a really good playmaker with the ball in his hands too. And I think if he's able to be that kind of player, maybe it takes a little bit of that pressure off Jordan Poole, so he can just focus on just being the scorer off the bench.
Yeah, that
might play a factor. So we'll see how he plays tonight. He's come back against Cleveland, but this game tonight, I mean, Cleveland's a really big team. I mean, they've got Jarrett Allen. They've got
real quick. Yeah. BMAC, you're not even going to beat the fucking Lakers tonight. Shut up.
Hey, the Lakers, actually, I'm not even going to get into it. I'm just going to let them just.
Russell Westbrook is about to embarrass the Kings tonight. It's going to be great because he's actually played pretty well recently.
What's really funny is I told Laker fans a while through my slandering on them. Like, I just told them, like, you guys need to bring Russ off the bench. I don't know what took him so long, and now it looks like they can't blame him. So now they're all pointing the finger at LeBron.
He's going to win Sixth Man of the Year if he keeps this shit up.
He probably will win Sixth Man of the Year. I'm not even going to lie, but
he's going to embarrass that Kings team.
I think honestly, BMAC, there is no flex on beating the Lakers. I mean, if you look at how shitty we look right now, we beat the Lakers on opening night. So that just goes to show you how the Lakers are. Anyways, I hate LA.
Juan's not even playing that well.
But I would take Juan right now, though, on this bench. I would take JTA back. But I think tonight, the main thing is I want to make sure that we're on at least off the bench. I don't want to just disappear. Like, don't have the same script every game where the starters come out, get like maybe like an 8-point lead. You're winning like, I don't know, 26 to like 18. And then the bench comes in for the last handful of minutes. And then all of a sudden you're losing the fucking first quarter. It's like 35 to 31. Like that's the shit I don't want to see. I just need to see that in the first quarter to have some confidence. I don't want to see that early letdown the second unit comes in. They have a big team. Like I said, Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, Kevin Love. Like that's a pretty big roster. And Donovan Mitchell's playing pretty well too. So obviously some guys are going to get their points. And I'm not saying this defense is going to become elite tonight, but just be consistent, contribute, score offensively. Don't foul so damn much because they're putting guys, people don't realize, they're just getting out free throw by like 25, but that's because they're literally fouling too much. They're just reaching. So I need to see the disciplinary stuff, just play with more discipline. Don't play with trying to reach for every single time guys drive down the lane. Don't give terrible fouls. Like if you're going to foul a guy, really foul the shit. Don't commit these ticky-tack fouls. I also feel a certain way. I don't know about you and BMAC, but the technical fouls being thrown around the league right now are just kind of hilarious to me. I think it's stupid. There's just technicals for way too many things. But I just need to see the Warriors not put themselves in a situation where the starters have to go win a very clutch performance in the fourth quarter. That's where I think they're maybe losing some development opportunities because instead of blowing teams out of the water like they're accustomed to and being able to play some of the young guys later in the game, they're not able to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your thoughts are for tonight against the Cavs, who they do look pretty good right now. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it's sort of weird with the Warriors team because, like, I just don't think. I mean, unless Steph goes like nuclear mode, I just don't think they're gonna win these kind of games. Like they lost the Magic.
That was so egregious. That was the most egregious game I think I've watched in a long time.
So like, I'm not really at this point. I'm going to the game against the Clippers here in 2 weeks because I got free tickets. But like, I'm not expecting them to win right now. I think that maybe if Steve Kerr can kind of like, if we start to see like improvements each game on like how these benches are set up and just how the guys who aren't the starters are playing, like that's what I'm looking for at this point, because I know we have the best starting lineup in the NBA. Like I know that, but the bench has to show improvement that it hasn't shown so far. And until that happens, I'm not picking them to win any game.
Mm-hmm. If the bench is mid-tier, they're fine.
Yeah.
But they're so
dog. There's been dog shit. And so because of that, like, I just, oh my God, BMAC. Really?
Okay. Steph knew he was going to get that technical. I'm not talking about technicals like that. I'm talking about like when I was at the Warriors and Suns game and guys were just talking shit. And I think in a span of a few minutes, the refs threw out like 6 technical fouls. They gave Chris Paul a technical foul for this hand motion toward a ref when he made a call. Like shit like that. It's dumb. Every time I turn on an NBA game this year, I see at least one technical foul being thrown out there. I am actually curious. I'm going to actually try to look it up tonight. How many technicals have been called this year and try to see what they're pacing for and see how many were called last year, because it feels like the league is trying to make like some sort of statement and just, cut down on a lot of this shit. And it just feels really weird. Like guys can't even talk shit anymore. And they're getting called for technical fouls and they're getting fined for it. It's just weird. It's weird.
And I do want to say, not related to the game tonight, those Warrior jerseys with the flowers are so ugly. It's not even.
I hate them. The court looks cool. But the jerseys to me just look terrible.
Awful. And I understand what they stand for. It's like women in our community and stuff. And like, that's a great message, but like make better looking jerseys. Design. Nothing is as bad as the Clit jersey. Have you seen that one?
Which one?
The Charlotte Hornet one. It just says CLT.
Oh.
It's like, I bet the Clit jersey.
Well, there's the other jersey. I don't. The Warriors jerseys this year are weird. I don't like the freaking Cal Bears jersey that they literally made. I don't understand what the hell that's about. I don't know why they made that shit. You've seen that, right?
I haven't seen it yet.
They literally look like the Cal Bears or the Michigan Wolverines. I don't know. Someone's got to do something different.
I just think that the flower is so dumb. It looks terrible.
It looks it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And it's like random yellow on the bottom.
That's fucking.
It literally just looks like Cowboys. I don't know, man. I don't like
that. Those lightning bolt ones were dope last year too, and then they're like, all right, we're coming out with the Cal Bears and flower jerseys. Congratulations, we won the finals.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like the Philadelphia Warriors throwback colors too on the San Francisco ones last year, but I know a lot of people didn't like those. But I don't know. This year looks really weird. But
bolts were way cooler.
I think that the Warriors. I actually feel like Jordan Poole's gonna have a better game tonight, so I'll say they will win. But I think they're still gonna allow like 115, 117 points. But I think because DiVincenzo's playing tonight, I think we'll see Jordan Poole just kind of unlock and just be himself and just be a scorer. Because I think that's been a problem the last few games.
The defense has to show improvement.
Defense has to show improvement. I don't think it can get worse.
People score points. It's wild.
I definitely don't think it can get worse. So I think it'll improve over time. No, and if it does, then shit. Like I don't know what to tell you if it does. But I think Jordan Poole will bounce back. I think Steph will still have a nice game. I don't think he's going to go off for 47. He's not playing the Kings, so he's playing a better team than that. So it might be a little more challenging for him. Anyways, yeah, Kings are poverty, BMAC. But we're going to wrap up here. And Nate, thanks for jumping on again, doing this show, doing a combined one tonight. Go ahead and tell everybody what you got going on, your channels, where they can find all your things.
Well, if you want to follow me on the dying website that is twitter.com, you can follow me at 90849. There I will tweet. I'll probably live tweet the game on Sunday. And then I have a YouTube channel. It's called 908's Nonsense. I don't think I've put a video up on there for like at least a couple weeks, but maybe I'll do a video here soon. Maybe I'll do a post game after the Niner game. We'll see how I feel. But yeah, I mean, it's always fun to hang out with you for an hour, Chris. I would love it if the Niners can, reel off some wins and the Warriors can figure out the bench. That's like my ideal world, is the Warriors figure out this bench. Aaron Judge signs this week with the Giants, and the 49ers reel off some wins.
Definitely.
That'll be good. BMAC, your team's going to lose to the fucking Lakers.
BMAC said he will revisit this on Sunday. Revisit that the Kings are poverty? That's gonna stay. I'm sorry.
We're gonna beat the paying Kings again, and it's like, okay, cool. This is like beating up on a child after he dropped his lollipop in the sand.
It's gonna take a lot longer than past Sunday to revisit that one. You might have to get back to me in like 25 years. I don't know about that one, but no, I'm just messing with you. Anyways, thanks for everybody who tuned in. Thanks for joining in. The Warriors are going to play in about an hour. If you want to see a real basketball team play basketball,
or you can watch the fucking right now, or you can watch the clown show that is the Lakers and the Kings.
And hey, it's your choice. It's your choice. But they're going to play in about an hour here. And hopefully the Niners get a W this weekend. I'm glad 49ers football is back, and we're doing these shows again. So I'll be back next week with another show, maybe two. Depends on my schedule. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. And Nate, it's good having you on again. And I'll see y'all later.
Pleasure.
Gonna throw it. Wide open. Touchdown. 49ers. And to Draymond. Curry. Watch Stafford go deep. And Rodgers were able to do week 3 in that matchup. Toss to Jones, and big middle linebacker Fred Warner made the stop.